pulling a guy out of an overdose. He hit him with that Narcan, and after 3 times, he ain't coming out of it, you know? And I'm doing everything I can. I mean, the paramedics aren't there yet.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. My name is Jake. I do video.
For who?
For everybody. For Edge. For everybody.
Brady Hall and I sell houses. I'm 22 years old, and I have a fiance named Maddie.
Nice. We are here with a very special guest. No hole in my sock today. Mr. Joseph Emmer.
Legend.
Absolute legend. Pseudo father of, well, do you want to explain how we met?
First of all, somebody deserves that applause more than I do. But I'll take it.
Jake.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
The humility. Yeah, Joe was the sober house manager at the sober house I was staying at when I was 23 years old. It was a pivotal time in my life where I was misguided and didn't know where I was headed, and didn't have a job, a place to go, didn't have my license, a car, nothing.
So you came out of rehab and went to this house? Or was this like step 1? Was this step 12?
No. So this is what happened. I went to detox treatment, and then after that, you go to the halfway house, which is at the Hazelden, what is that? Fellowship. I got kicked out of there because I was late. Of course you did. I was late to showing up. It's like if you do late more than 3 days or 2 days, they're like, yeah, no, you're out. And that happened. So then I found the Buffalo House, which was a blessing in disguise. Went in there.
Met Joe.
He wasn't very welcoming, like in a good way. You were like, pretty much like, yeah, you're fucking here. Like, Mom, get out of here. Like,
oh, I would have rather had your mom stay than you, but.
But yeah, you were just kind of like a hard ass, which is like what I think a lot of guys need in early recovery. But
well, I don't want to put on a false deal, you know. And one thing about recovery is it's not about feeling comfortable,
right?
You know.
Yeah. And
it was amazing when Jake walked through the door. I remember, and you were with your mom.
I was. Yeah.
Rhonda, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, he came in and he just did what he was supposed to do for the most part, you know, that I can remember.
For the most part?
Well, yeah. I mean, if I kicked someone out on their first strike every time, I wouldn't have anybody in the house, including myself.
Yeah.
But, no, Jake did well there. And I managed there for like 5 years, and it was pretty crazy. I was hanging around with the wrong person, and I thought I had enough in the bank, a spiritual bank, that is. And something hit me, and thought smoking some crack would be a good idea.
Hell yeah.
And it was horrible. But I made it back to the retreat and made some breakthroughs there. And this is how my higher power works, you know, this God deal. 3 months before that, I got together with a guy. He got my name from somebody because he wanted to get in the sober house business. So I'm out at the retreat. I'm just checking in, calling him, saying how's it going. He goes, well, I'm sitting in the chair right now at Edina Realty. I'm buying that house that you suggested I buy for sober housing. And we're like, oh. And then the next week I couldn't find a bed, so he said, why don't you stay with us? And I've been working for him ever since. And yeah.
This podcast is not sponsored by Edina Realty, too. Just want to put that out there.
No, it's not. But it's pretty funny. But when this thing comes full circle, when Jake asked me, you know, what do you want with a guy like me, you know? And many moons ago, right out here at Bent Creek Golf Course, here in Eden Prairie, off of Valley View Road, I worked in the bag room. And I was responsible for all the members' bags. I was responsible for the driving range. And I was responsible for the carts that people ride on. And they had some problems with the young kids that were working there. They were stealing clubs and doing that shit. out there, and they asked me if I would come in and kind of clean house and keep an eye on the place. Well, they didn't know that I was in my throes of addiction. And I mean, the pro one said, Joe Emmer's the only non-member that's closing up our bar here every night. And I had that reputation. And I was dealing dope to the members, and I was partying with the members, and it was a perfect fit for me. But, that was a hell of a job. And that's when I first got to meet Jake. Jake was probably this high,
Probably smaller than that.
5 or 6
honestly.
years old, maybe.
Yeah.
And Jake's dad, Greg, enrolled him in the golf lessons.
Yeah.
And our friend Jeff Hansen, who I still hang out with today. Jeff is he's a security guard somewhere, but he's still golfing, and he comes up north and hangs with us on vacation with my brother John. And Jake would take lessons, and I got to meet this little kid, and I thought it was really cool that the young kids were, learning how to do this thing. And I knew Jake's dad pretty well too.
He was a wild guy.
Well, he was pretty wild, and that he fit right in my flywheel.
I feel like everybody there was wild.
I used to party with Greg and run around with them and meet him at certain places, and it was crazy. And
I wanted to ask you real quick. So you went back out, but how many years do you have now of sobriety?
well, from that date,
From when you went back out? Not
8 years, coming up on 8 years.
Okay.
And I had 14
14. Okay.
continuous before that.
Crazy.
There wasn't a drop of alcohol involved.
Yeah.
I was managing the Buffalo House. I mean, they knew if I was drinking.
That would have led me to crack too.
Yeah, it was really stupid, but
What was your mindset like? I mean, not to get in the weeds of it.
I was trying to get my sexy on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was with some chick.
How did you? I mean, I'm sure you didn't really play it out in your head. Like, okay, so
Oh, no,
Like
I
a
was with her
calculated-
before. I was fine.
yeah,
And all of a sudden, bam,
yeah,
got sideswiped,
yeah,
T-boned.
yeah,
That's the way the disease is.
yeah.
And, it was short-lived, but it happened,
Did someone catch you, or did you just come clean? And
Oh,
like,
did someone catch me? Yeah. Yeah. I was in my room, and this guy who used to be next cop for Edina Police Department, Jim Caju, he's dead now. He was my roommate in the basement there.
oh,
And
whoa.
he knew something was up. And so I came out naked, just like, and so they all surrounded me, and I said, I got to go out and have a cigarette. And I was just gonzo.
Yeah.
And I got my Suburban, and they tried to get in front of me because they called an ambulance. So there's an ambulance. I just went to the doctor, and they're going like, are you having a heart attack or something?
Yeah.
I was I'm fine, man.
yeah,
And the ambulance was coming. I got out, I got my truck, and I almost ran some guys over and took off. And, they were reaching out. One guy, Eric Abate,
Okay.
remember Eric? I'm supposed not to say their last name. But anyways, he cared enough about me and reached out to me and talked the owners into coming up with some cash for the hard work that I had done. And the retreat matched it, and I got back out there. So
yeah,
it was really cool. Man, I haven't looked back since. But
yeah. Wow.
But my deal was booze, and everything but heroin, I guess. But I didn't have
Just
one
booze, but well, everything but heroin.
and
booze was my thing, but so was everything else.
yeah,
But heroin,
right,
not heroin.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to addiction, it doesn't matter. It could be
Yeah.
chocolate cupcakes or whatever you
Sucking toes, whatever. I mean, anything.
sucking
yeah.
toes can get you in jail. If you're
all
not
been there.
careful.
I mean, shit, we've all been there, yeah.
Another Tuesday.
One time I was watching this movie. It's called What the Bleep Do We Know? And it's 14 doctors from neuroscientists to chiropractors giving their little take on why we're here and all that. And I remember this German sex therapist. She says, if you cannot control the emotion, it will eventually turn into an addiction.
That's hot.
How true is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
So it's not just weed or booze or pills or It can be a lot.
Heroin.
It can be anything that you can't control your emotions over.
Right.
Right. So,
What was your childhood like?
God, you beat me to it.
what was my
get into it.
childhood like? Well, let's see.
You have a brother, I know that. Do you have...
I'm the
in-
oldest of 7 kids.
Okay.
Born and raised?
Born and raised here in Minneapolis, then moved to Edina.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I know. Hey, okay, don't turn the cameras off yet. This is a success story. No, I'm kidding.
everybody's from frickin'
Yeah,
Edina.
till
you
I
know,
was,
dude.
what was 6th grade was what?
1930...
No, 6 years old, 7, I don't know how old you are.
6th grade?
We were right
It'd
off
be
of-
like 11 or 12?
Yeah, 11.
Yeah, okay, that's,
Six.
But I was,
like kindergarten.
let's see, I remember I was 8 when my old man quit drinking.
That was like 3rd grade, probably.
Yeah, so it was before that. I think I was in 1st grade.
Damn,
Or
I don't
something.
even.
And we moved from, lived off of 58th and Newton, right off of Penn and Crosstown.
Oh,
And we moved over to Tracy, right off of Tracy and Crosstown, right by the high school.
Yeah.
About a block away. So, moved there, got adjusted with the kids, and stuff. And, I was kind of a show-off, and I wanted attention. You know that old saying, Edina stands for every day
Oh,
I
yeah.
need attention.
cake
But,
eaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, breakfast of champions. Cake is the breakfast of champions. Don't forget that. So if you're a cake eater, anyways.
Cake eater, don't watch.
Cake and crack.
Got along with people and stuff, and, but, you get to that 6th grade mark, and you want to be liked,
Oh,
and
totally.
shit and everything. But my mom had 9 pregnancies in 10 years. She lost 2 of them. I was the oldest. And I could never figure out why I wasn't named after my dad. It's kind of weird. I like Joe anyways, but I would have been John Jr. But, and I heard something about I was born out of wedlock. That my mom and dad had gotten pregnant before they were married. Because at that time, my dad was going to Notre Dame. He got kicked out of there for mooning a train full of nuns coming in, but it was mostly his drinking. And he came back here, went to college at St. Thomas. I think they got pregnant. My mom was working at the old building, Bell Building, I believe. She was an elevator worker the old time when
Yeah.
they had, yeah. And I came along, and they got married. Then I came along, and so, anyways, upbringing was great. Dad was a great provider. I remember. I was born, and then my brother John was born. We're Irish twins. I was born on April 18th of 62. He was born April 5th of 63. So there's not a year between us.
Yeah.
They call that Irish twins.
My brothers are Irish twins.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. And so Grandma watched us, and my mom and dad went up to Park Rapids. And a storm came in, and they're driving around, and they saw this little light on. They were curling around these roads, and saw this little light on, and they went up and knocked on the door because the sign said Sunset Lodge. And the people opened the door and said, "Come on in, have a cup of coffee." And they were talking. And my mom just says, "Hey, we're looking for a place to stay. What are you thinking?" And they said, "Well, we don't know." And my dad says, "What do you mean you don't know?" They said, "We just bought this place today.
Oh, that's funny.
We don't even know what the cabins are like.
Yeah.
We literally moved in today." And so my mom and dad stayed there for a week.
Why didn't they just get an Airbnb?
They
It
didn't
was
exist back then.
1960. Yeah.
And so for the next 20 years, we went up to Sunset Lodge.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And, it was for a week. Then it turned into 2 weeks. Then it turned into a month. Then it turned into 2 months. And by this time, Roger, the guy who owned it, he built a couple more cabins, bigger cabins for big families. Mm-hmm. And then the Jacksons got number 10, and they were in there for years. And they rented it out for the whole summer. And then the Jacksons were from Yankton, South Dakota, and they weren't coming back for whatever reason. Because we're going like, "Dad, let's buy a cabin." And say, "I'm never buying a cabin when I can rent one,
So long story short, your childhood was good.
Childhood was great. We went up to
Dad
Park Rapids for the whole summer.
Yeah.
I got to run the boat. I got to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It was fun. Hunting, fishing. caddying for golfing.
Are you pretty close with your siblings?
No,
No.
we're very dysfunctional.
Yeah. Always been like that, or was there a time where all of a sudden you guys kind of just drifted?
We never really hung tight.
Okay.
We were dysfunctional. Mom and Dad, it was kind of a crazy deal. My dad sobered up, and my mom was nuts.
Pumpkin?
If you have 9 pregnancies in 10 years, you're considered insane.
That's
Yeah,
who's
that
your
is-
mom?
That is crazy.
Ann.
Nickname?
Well,
Does she have a nickname?
you never met her.
Who? Todd's mom, Pumpkin.
Yeah.
How do you know her? That's your
My
dad's.
dad married Pumpkin.
That's okay. I couldn't remember the connection of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're really connected, crazy, like
Weirdly, yeah.
through family and things like that.
Yeah.
So
Well, the craziest thing is that did you even know Joe was like the person at the Buffalo House?
No,
Did you,
No.
he didn't
'cause
know until
he knew you from golf when you were like 6.
No, we did.
yeah, but I know the name Jake Lotterell. I know the name
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of his dad.
Yeah.
What are the odds of all that?
And his mom's sister Simone
Yeah.
was married to my stepbrother.
Yeah.
And Simone's
That's such a
she's a
small
stylist. Yeah.
It wasn't until I think we talked when I got into the Buffalo House that we were like, oh shit, and you, and then this. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Those are fun conversations.
Yeah.
Like those are the best.
Yeah.
Pumpkin's still around.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, my Uncle Jim just died the other day. JW.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry to hear that.
Why?
I mean,
He
I
was
didn't
a
do
great,
it, but
he was a great guy.
I'm sure he
I'm going to
was.
celebrate his life.
Yeah.
All these people are all sad. I celebrate people's lives.
yeah, but you get why you're not gonna high five and be like,
No, he was 77. That's still pretty young, actually.
That is
That
young.
is young for
Yeah.
now.
But we have heart history and shit like that, so
everybody does. in
I
this
don't
country, I feel
know,
like. So what was you said you caddied?
My old man would golf out at Braemar every
Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
So I had to earn a few bucks doing that, but
How were you? How were your grades in school? Just trying to get a feel for. You wanted to be liked.
average.
Average. Okay.
Until high school, when my dad threatened that if I didn't graduate, I'd probably be buried early.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I bought answers. Stole answers.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't do that now, you're probably falling behind.
Now you have Chat GPT and AI and.
Photo math. You ever have photo math? Take a picture of an
picture.
equation and
Wow.
it'll give you the answer.
That's
I
crazy.
did learn math, though. I had some of the same teachers my dad did because I was a block from Edina High School. My dad says, "You're going out to St. Thomas Academy." I said, "Well, he goes, give me 3 reasons why you don't want to go." And I said, orthodontist appointments.
What?
Yeah, because my orthodontist was in Edina, and he
Oh.
wanted me to go out to Mendota, and I wasn't driving yet.
Yeah.
He goes, "My secretary will drive you out there next." And I said,
Just
women.
coming up with
women.
any BS.
I said, women. There's a lot of girls at the high school.
Yeah.
He goes, Viz Convent's down the street.
There's what?
Viz Convent, Visitation Convent.
Oh.
We were St. Thomas Academy, and there's a girls' school right down the street.
Oh, gotcha. That's funny.
And I couldn't come up with another reason, so I got shipped up to St. Thomas.
I mean, that would be a blessing to a lot of people.
It was. It was. I
But I'm
didn't
sure
I
as a-
could walk to school a block away. I had
Yeah.
all my buddies there, and
Right.
stuff. So high school was good. I mean, the old man paid for it, but there was pressure on not failing too.
And living up to his, I'm sure he was a successful businessman.
Well,
From
we
what
had a
I'm-
family lumber company, Emmer Brothers Lumber.
Okay.
That my great grandfather started out in Wisconsin.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and there was a lot of drama there. I mean, a lot of nepotism
Sure.
and things like that.
I hear that word brought up a lot lately. I think it's because, LeBron, he's playing with his son now in the league.
What a tough gig.
Yeah.
I mean, not just to fill your old
To
man's
follow-
shoes,
yeah.
but just the nepotism and people's judgment.
Everybody's
and,
disagreeing that he's good enough to play. And
Right.
Did you ever feel that pressure?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I felt that pressure, like I said, until I was 8 years old. And, till I was 16. At 8 years old, my old man got in this accident, and it wasn't pretty. If you could imagine, he's drinking on the 494 strip, right? Do you know where Bush Lake Road and the
Yeah.
Highway 494 is?
Yeah.
Well, there's only one entrance to get on that highway. Well, he thought there was an entrance on that north side, and he went down the embankment onto oncoming traffic.
Oh.
And got hit over the median, got hit again into the shoulder on the other side of the highway.
Lucky he didn't. Did it kill anybody? Hurt
Lucky he didn't have his seatbelt on. So you guys, whatever about seatbelts. If he had his seatbelt on, he would have been killed instantly.
Yeah.
They found him in the back of the tailgate.
Yeah.
The engine was in the middle passenger.
Yeah, but that's a freak. More often than not, wearing a seatbelt saves lives, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But I'm just, yeah.
I know you're. I was just trying to check to see if that is crazy.
That's my
though.
opinion again. I just got this edge every once in a while.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But he quit drinking after that.
That's good.
Well,
DWI, I'm sure.
no. My Uncle Mike was a lawyer, got him out of the jam. But his best friend Pat Murray of Murray's Restaurants downtown, they grew up together, and Murray had sobered up a year before that. And they did an intervention on my dad. And my dad said, I ain't going to treatment. He says, if I ever drink again, then you can take me. So Murray held my dad to that, but what had happened, so he went, after the accident, he healed up because he was in bed for like 3 days. He couldn't move. And I said, Mom, is Dad sick? She goes, oh, he's really sick.
Going through withdrawals.
Well, the whole deal.
Yeah.
But he went to Freeway Ford to pick up his personal belongings out of the car. And the guy behind the desk says, well, you're not the guy that was driving that car. He's dead. My dad says, no, I'm the guy who's driving the guy. So they brought a Polaroid camera. It was on a pallet. The car was on a pallet. And they took a picture of it. My dad kept it in his pocket. Every time he thought about drinking, he looked at the picture.
Right.
One of the guys at the lumber, in the office said, oh, you think about drinking, huh? Goes, that picture ain't going to keep you sober, man.
Yeah.
And so he goes, join AA. My dad said, no. So 8 years and went on like white knuckle.
Yeah.
He had the worst temper. Oh, he was
So
asshole.
annoying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I similarly, I think it was my second DUI. Maybe it was my first, might have been my first. I totaled my car. I had it on cruise control on the highway. I always wear my seatbelt, but I don't know if I was wearing my seatbelt. Hit the median going like 80.
Yeah.
It's like 2 a.m. Head hit the windshield, the front end of the car, my dream car.
Sure.
Smashed all the way up. Somehow I had like a gash, but other than that, it was like.
Well, people wonder about that.
And then I still drank and whatever after.
Well, you heal
was
up.
just-
It's
yeah.
called healing up.
Yeah.
You heal up and you're like, well, I'm going to do it different.
Never do that again.
Yeah. I'll call a
Until I
cab.
get my second DUI.
Oh, you only got 2?
Yeah. Something light.
I got 3. I still wasn't out of the fire yet. Because Minnesota was changing its laws. This Mothers Against Drunk Drivers was passing legislation. So we started a group called DAM. They're mad. We're
Yeah.
DAM. We're Drunks Against Mad Mothers. We think that's funny. Today it's not. I remember one time my dad called a drunk in. He was driving on the streets, bouncing off me. And I said, why would you do that? And then I sober up, and it was New Year's Eve, and I'm coming home from the hotel. And I followed somebody and called him. And the guy called me back and said, thank you. He goes, he didn't even pull over when he says he didn't know where he was.
Yeah.
So, but so Minnesota's legislation was changing. 3 DWIs or 2 within 5, 3 within 10.
I'm going to pull this over just a little bit.
Yeah.
Three DWIs.
Within 10 years.
Yeah.
Your charges are
It's a felony.
worse. Yes, felony.
Like a year in prison or something.
So I had
Yeah.
2 within 5.
I think my grandpa had 5 within like 5 years. Like he was
Maybe.
in prison for a very long time. I didn't know my grandpa very much. Never saw the guy.
Yeah, he was in the hotel. Oh. But so I'm going 3 within 10. I don't trust myself.
Yeah.
But I'm working a full-time job, getting a ride to work every day, getting a ride to the bar, getting a ride back home.
It's the worst.
Because when you got extra cash for illicit stuff, it doesn't mean anything. So if somebody needs a set of tires, put them in the car. You need a battery? Oh, you need your pipes fixed in your trailer home? call the guy. I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
I could always get a ride. But I didn't trust myself. I didn't drive for 11 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I got full-time job, worked overtime, made it to work every day.
I remember you drive us around like you were the dad of it. Like you just I worked at Subway, couldn't afford shit. Was it $500 a month for rent there?
Back then, it was $505.
Yes, back then, and my paychecks were like
$600,
$600 for the month.
Yeah.
And luckily Subway would give me like a free sandwich every time I worked. And,
Sure.
And then what was it?
Yeah, he was bringing that home. I said, how long are you going to be able to eat that stuff?
Yeah. Every time. I'm still not sick of it. I just had Subway yesterday. But then we'd have those dinners every Thursday? Tuesday?
Those nights were,
whatever it was.
Those were Tuesday nights.
Tuesday.
Yeah, they were Tuesday nights.
Where we'd all, come in, we'd pick a group or a room that would make the dinner that night.
Well, just a couple people volunteered
That's
to make
what- yeah.
it, or I assigned people to make it for the
Yeah.
whole group. And then we came together as a community, shared a meal,
Yes.
and went over house business
Yep.
and whatever else had to be
Always
done.
spaghetti, I felt like, which was just the
It's
easiest.
easy. Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
You can make a lot of it.
Totally.
I was put on the spot a lot because some guys forgot or whatever, so I'd have to whip
Yes.
something up, remember?
Yeah. But yeah,
Well, we
you
always
would,
had good meals.
you would drive us around. Keep going. Phil. You would drive us around.
Yeah.
And, I would have to take the bus. I was just like everybody else. It's like we were scraping up change underneath the seats in the basement and the couch to get a pack of chew.
Sure.
So, like, chew and cigarettes were like, that was currency. If you had a pack of cigarettes,
Yeah.
I don't have a job. I don't have nothing. This is the best day ever.
Right.
No responsibility. I mean, you had responsibility, but it was like, now it's like I have a kid, I have a house, mortgage, car, job. It's like there's a lot that could go wrong. But back then, it's like I'm already down here.
Right.
Like
How
what do
much
I have to-
lower is it?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it can get lower, I promise. But like at the time, it was not a lot to worry about.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It's a great deal, and some people didn't use their time well, let's say. They go back out, or they'd overdose.
Yeah,
It's a big epidemic, if you guys know.
yeah,
I'm on the front line of that. I mean, it's crazy, pulling a guy out of an overdose,
Yeah.
that's slumped against the toilet, in between the toilet and the bathtub, and you pull him by the ankles and you hit him with that Narcan. And, they got the nasal stuff, but it was so expensive. So you got to give him the injection with the syringe. And after 3 times, he ain't coming out of it, And I'm doing everything I can. I mean, the paramedics aren't there yet.
For everybody that doesn't know, do you know what Narcan is?
it's like what gets you basically
It's an
out of
opioid
it.
Yeah.
derivative.
It gets all the
It's an
opioid-
antagonist.
Yeah,
And they come around right away once it gets in your system. If you do it through your nose, there's a spray thing, like a nasal thing, they pop right out of it.
yeah. You
I've
feel
seen Blow.
miserable.
I've watched the movie Blow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a crazy deal. And, and the worst is opening up somebody's bedroom door thinking they were at work all day,
Yeah.
and they've been gone for 12 hours laying on the ground. People say, how do you handle that? And I say, well, gratitude comes first. I got to be grateful that that's not me. I've had to talk to some parents,
Yeah.
and they're screaming 3 a.m, but someone's got to do it. And, the odds aren't good for the people who are staying sober. I mean, you're 1 or 2% of everything that's going on out there. Okay, so, and some people don't realize that, or they don't believe it. But there's not a lot of high ratings. So I stay grateful. And people say, you've been managing for 13 years these houses. Most of them only make it a year. I said, it must be God's deal, because I still have a passion for it. The resistors are kind of a pain in the behind. But, you get that one that calls you back 3 layers later,
Yeah.
It says, hey, thanks. Thanks for yanking my ass out of bed. and making me make my bed. I'm still doing it, and I'm still sober. And it's like, those calls are, it's not about the recognition. It's like I touched someone. I was service to someone, And I guess that's where the passion is. I get to do anything I want. And it's well worth it, There's a lot of sacrifice, but like this last year, people are saying like, "You've been golfing a lot lately." I said, "Yeah, I have." "You've been fishing a lot." Like, "Yeah, I have done that too." "God, you were a hunter? Did you go hunting?" "I haven't hunted in years," and I just broke away and said, "I'm going." It's 10 hours up the road up in Mott, and it's great. It's great to get away, and I should be doing more of that. I get kind of attached to this.
You've kind of, I don't want to say earned, because that's a sense of like ego, like I deserve, but like it's important to have that balance of hanging out with yourself.
The only time I'm going to have balance is you guys lay me down in that coffin, or in the urn now, maybe. It's
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, I know you were a pivotal, like an important person in my life, like probably top 10 from when, like just getting sober for the second or third time. And
but you left sober.
yeah.
Did you ever go back?
Did I ever? No, not like to the. I smoked weed a few times, drank, but
But did you ever go back to the house?
oh no,
No.
no,
No.
no.
But see, he doesn't understand. He's a pivotal part in my life. When I see someone leave successfully, because not a lot of people make it. It's the numbers. So, I've been reprimanded for my ways of teaching sometimes. They say I'm a little crass, I'm a little harsh.
But that's what Jake needed.
Oh,
probably.
I think we all needed it.
Like
honestly.
if you were a soft ass to Jake, he would have been like, "Oh, whatever."
Walk all over you.
I'm gonna go fucking find
Well,
some
I mean,
opioids or something.
Yeah,
I go to meetings of AA, and if it wasn't for the old timers, the old crotchety old timers, smoking grits, I thought I knew what they were doing in AA. I thought they were smoking cigarettes, drinking horse shit coffee, and bitching about their horse shit life. Well, I had two of
that
the
is a
three
little
right.
bit of it.
I had the two of the three right. But they weren't bitching about their life. Their life continually gotten better and better. And so the old timer, I remember one time I was whining about something early in recovery, and Green Bay Ed said to me, he said,
I
"Oh
love
yeah?"
that nickname.
He
Green
says,
Bay
"Oh
Ed.
yeah?" He says, "Well, tough shit. Don't drink, your life will get better." All I heard was tough shit. My feelings got hurt.
Oh yeah.
But Ed didn't care about my feelings. This is life or death. He knew my feelings got hurt before, and I got over it. And he
get
told
over
it
it
like it
again.
was, yeah. I'm grateful for that.
We just had my cousin on he's been sober
4 years.
4 years. But the first time around when he got sober, he tried to go to AA, and he's like, went a few times, and he's like, "Fuck this shit." Like, he was telling his buddies, like, "Dude, it's pretty much like a bunch of guys sitting around talking about how the same ex-girlfriend sucks, and they talk about it every time." And then that was, first time around.
Get over it.
Yeah. And then, anyways, he's actively in AA now and has been for years. But yeah, the first time around, he's like, a lot of people have that resentment of like, why even bother? It's not going to help me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a defense mechanism.
Yes.
Because they don't know how it's going to turn out.
Scary.
Yeah. So that means a lack of faith, and they don't trust the process. And most of them that leave, they never get through the full 12 steps.
No.
And
They have to face all their demons.
Well, they say 1, 2, and 3, you're out, right? 1, 2, 3, out. 1, 2. No, it's 1 and out. You walk through the goddamn door.
Yeah.
You never found a power greater than yourself that you could try or rely on, and you never made a decision to turn your life and will over.
Yeah.
Because then once you do that, you need that to strum up the courage to look at your deal. I call it self-examination.
Yeah.
Hardest work I've ever done. I've worked 3 jobs at a time, overtime, sleeping every third day, running, like crazy. This program's been the hardest work I've ever done in my life. But the gifts and the rewards
Yeah.
have been worth every step of the way. And I'm not kidding.
I remember that feeling of when we were at the Buffalo House, just feeling like, as I'm actively going through the steps and whatever, just the lightness I felt. Like, just the world was just off my shoulder. Like, once you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, it's like life feels so light.
Right.
It's like I walked around with 50 pounds less on. It was just so weird.
When you're running around in circles with no direction,
Yeah.
and then you get to a place where you have some responsibilities, some direction, some structure, accountability,
Yeah.
and then you start having fun doing it.
It's crazy.
Are you kidding me?
It's the best.
And then you go like, why did it take me so long? It doesn't matter. You
Yeah.
got there when you got there. You got there when you were ready.
Yeah.
And some people aren't ready. They're forced to go either the judge orders them or
Parents
whoever.
are kicking them out or something.
Yeah, girlfriend, the dog that you don't always kick every time you walk by.
Yeah.
Get the
Yeah. Man.
How did you get from going to St. Thomas to becoming a manager of one of these houses?
That's a good question.
Okay. So St. Thomas Academy, I graduated. I was spared. And I was applying for college. And there was, what's the famous one out in Michigan?
University of Michigan?
No.
Michigan State?
Oh, my Uncle Jim went there. Not Michigan State.
Western Michigan?
Eastern Michigan?
No. It didn't have Michigan in it.
Well, regardless.
Anyways, I tried that, and then I was going to try that, and then I applied at St. Thomas College of St. Thomas. Now it's the University of, but back then it was the College of St. Thomas, and I got accepted. And then my old man says, "Well, all right, fine." I went and got a loan for this shit, and he says, "Well, let's go to the seminary." I said, "What are you talking about?"
What is the seminary again?
It's where priests learn how to
that's
become
what I thought.
priests.
Yeah.
Because I think you should go there, and live. And we found an animal house up on Eigelhart and Wheeler.
Yeah.
9 of us, and it was
Crazy.
party was on.
All the time.
And I didn't go to classes, so I go to try to take some tests, and the prof just said, "Out of here."
Oh.
Yeah. So next 5 years, I just hung out with those guys from college, went to ball games, partied and supplied a lot of stuff there, and just got jobs, working full-time jobs. So I went from St. Paul to Bloomington, and then to Eden Prairie. And Eden Prairie is where I got the job at the golf course.
Bank Creek.
That was about 7 years. But, and then after that, what was it after?
What was the thing, I don't know if you already said it, the thing that ultimately led you to sobriety? Like a moment.
What led me to sobriety? Let's see.
I'm sure there was a bunch of, but
Well, I was in the golf industry, and we work wintertime at the malls selling calendars, and then all of a sudden, I was living with a guy that was a drunk, and he died. So I went up to Stacy and lived on a farm for a couple years, and then
doing what? Just living?
the guy had welding job. He welded.
Oh, okay.
His dad gave him all his work, so
Got
I
it.
cleaned iron and grind it down and cut it on the cutter, and he made stairways up and pickets and stairways, and he got all his work from his dad, and I just hung up there and partied and shit, and then ended up I screwed something up. His dad says you can stay up here as long as you start going to AA. So I went to AA for a little bit, and whatever. I was house sitting at his girlfriend's place, and I was doing a dope deal out in her driveway. They came back from Iowa, and I met my guy at Minnetonka Mist. I was out on the lake because that's where she lived, and I was supposed to go to an AA meeting. I was just all effed up, right? And they were going to take me back and go to a meeting. And he goes, "You're not coming back to the farm." So I ended up in what should have been condemned trailer home in Burnsville, Apple Valley, right by Buck Hill and that Fleet Farm. And my buddy, there was no floor. You had to walk on the 2x6s. The roof was caved in. He just painted the outside, and that was good enough for the guy that had the place. And so I mean, you had to go to the bathroom. You had to turn the water on. So you're taking a shit, and you had to turn the water on, spraying all over the place. Neighbors' ferrets are coming in up through the. Hey, good morning. And I just looked in the mirror and I said, "When did this train wreck happen?
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to be like this." And my dad was calling at the same time, and I picked up the phone, and he and I went out for breakfast. He said, "Let's go to a Greasy Spoon," and we're going down the highway to go get his dogs, because they were building that lake home in Wisconsin. And we're going down the road. I said, "Hey, Dad, can I ask you a question?" And he just got the eye roll. Oh, another bailout. He's going to ask for the bailout money. Because I was down to $10, okay? And I was paralyzed. I could go get a job anywhere at any time, and I was paralyzed. And it was like, I got $10 left. I can go to the store and get some Ambassador hot dogs and cheese and some tortillas, or go get a bottle of vodka. The weenies lost every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
And so we were going down the highway at about 80 miles an hour. And I said, "Hey, Dad, you remember that time you rolled into Amoco and said if you ever thought I had a problem with my drinking and my drugging, you could be there for me?" He goes, "Yeah, I remember." I said, "I don't want to do this anymore." Brake stand. We hit it up. We're going right by Chaska on 41. We hit it up and got to the retreat. I met the staff.
Wow.
And so, they had plenty of room. It was at the old Pillsbury Mansion out in Minnetrista and Upland Farms. And I was leaving there, and the people in there are going, "Hey, when do you think you're coming back?" This is Monday, April Fool's Day, 2002.
Good year, great year. 2 days before my birthday.
Oh, yeah. It's a great time to sober up. So they said, "Hey, when do you think you're coming back?" I'm going like, "Yeah, Friday sounds good. I got a lot of loose ends to tighten up." And they all laughed.
Yeah.
They all laughed.
That's why I was laughing, yeah.
And the next day I was out there. I went home. I went back to that what should have been a condemned trailer home. And I was painting the inside of the paneling for the guy. I made a deal. I could stay there, This guy sold motorcycles. He was never around. And his refrigerator was completely immaculate, clean, empty. And I said, "Hey, Dad, before you take off," because he was taking the lighting up to the house, the lake home they're building for the electricians. And he says, "Well, if you want to go, I'll come back and get you, and we'll take you out there. It's on you." I said, "Oh, by the way, before you leave," I said, "I'm short a gallon of paint. I got to get this painted and shit." He goes, "How much is it?" I said, "It's $15.99 at Fleet Farm." This is 2002. I mean, paint was $15.99. And, he takes out his money clip and flips me a 20. He goes, "Call me. It's on you." Suburban took off. The dust hadn't even settled yet. I'm on the way to the liquor store.
Yeah.
I've been trying to put dope deals together. Nobody's answering the phone. I can't put a penny together. So I got a 12-pack of Budweisers and a bottle of vodka, a golf bag vodka, and started putting them down. Started making phone calls. Nobody's answering. My mom answers the phone, and he had left the family.
You called her, or she happened to be calling you?
No, I called her.
Okay.
She goes, "Are you drinking?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm going to sleep it." She goes, "What?" And I said, "Well, Dad said that he'd be there for me, and I'm going to." And then, he left the family, and for 20 years, she just badmouthed them.
Yeah.
First time I heard it drunk, she said, "Well, your dad must not be that bad of a guy. He said he'd be there for you." And so I pass out, wake up in the morning, call the old man. He goes, "I'll be there too." Now, this is 8:30 in the morning.
It's a lot of time.
I open up the fridge, and there's 4 Budweisers left with the caps on them still. And the retreat said, "Don't come here drunk. We're going to have to send you to detox."
Oh,
And I said,
I won't be that drunk.
And I'm going like, 4 beers, isn't it? And I hear the 2 o'clock, I hear the fucking horn. Ramona was with my dad.
Okay.
And I hear the horn, and I opened up that fridge, and those 4 Budweisers were still intact.
Wow.
Something was happening. I didn't know what, but something was happening.
I would have done the addict math in my brain of, okay, if I drink all 4 now, I can be sober by
course.
2. Yeah.
That didn't even occur.
Yeah.
I didn't even
That's crazy.
It was done.
Yeah.
And then going to Target with your dad and your stepmother to buy undies and a toothbrush is one of the most humiliating things in the world.
How old were you at that point?
I had my 40th birthday party out at the retreat.
Oh,
so I was 39
Oh,
because April
brutal.
18th came. I got out there April 2nd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
It's not a good look. And
I was supposed to be in Vegas when I was 40, retired.
Right.
With all the hookers and the blow and all the booze. And you know what? I was retired.
Yeah.
I was retired from drugs and alcohol.
Wow.
I just didn't know it.
What a metaphor.
It's
That was beautiful.
part of my story.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think I've heard that story multiple times, but I couldn't remember
That's
it.
really cool.
Yeah.
That's from a guy that's never heard
the
it.
bathroom. I gotta pee.
Yeah, go pee.
ahead.
You don't care?
No, it's not live. We can just cut this part out.
Oh, okay. All right. Remember a guy out at the Bent Creek Golf Course, Todd. He got a tattoo of the Ashworth symbol on his arm.
What is that, Nash?
It's a brand of clothing. I don't even know if it's around anymore. I think they're still making Ashworth.
I'm not sure. I haven't heard of it. Jake, have you?
They're probably
you just
wearing
said
all
no?
the fancy
I have no
stuff
idea.
like Peter Millar.
Target.
Yeah,
Target.
Target.
No, I mean
Adidas.
for golf.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you.
I just never.
Mostly Nike
I never
sponsorship.
paid anything. Yeah, like I just got free clothes most of the time.
Do you golf a lot?
I still golf now. Yeah,
Where?
Elk River.
Elk River? Okay.
Played all over though. Was a member at Windsong for a summer. I was Mr. Golf in 2021.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. Sitting with a big deal here.
It was fun.
Well,
I still love golf.
Yeah, well, Joe did cocaine at Bent Creek daily.
He probably did cocaine off somebody's ass.
Everybody did cocaine at Bent Creek.
I remember one time I got 4 8-balls delivered to the bag room.
Really?
Yes.
Jesus.
Well, this guy was in the business, and I gave 3 of them to somebody because I can't control when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And I grabbed one of them, and I got on a cart, and I went outside, and I got a big stogie in my mouth, and I'm in the woods on a cart. And then here comes a golfer. He's looking for balls in the woods, right?
And you're doing.
Oh, and he's going, "Hey,
numb
Joe,
mouth.
looks like you got into some pretty good stuff there." I can't even talk.
Mouth
And then-
is completely numb.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I wait for the sun to go down, and then I make it back to the parking lot, drop the golf cart off, get into my car, and realize I can't drive. I'm too effed up. I'm in Eden Prairie. I don't want to get.
that would
So
suck.
I walked down to Gina Maria's Pizza. You remember where Gina Maria's
I've heard
Pizza
of that.
used
I
to be?
don't
It was that
remember,
little
but-
mall right there on Valley View before you
Okay.
got. I could jump the fence and get cigarettes for all the golfers if they wanted. They had
Yeah.
me jump the fence and go get cigarettes, during the men's tournament or whatever, Anyways, so I knew the driver from Gina Maria's, so I'd ordered the pizza and then stood outside, and he came around the corner and picked me up and got me home.
That's smart.
That's genius.
smart.
Hey, that was Uber back then, baby.
Yeah. That's genius.
When you were in the bathroom, I was asking Jake. I was like, "What was that first time going to AA like? What was that like? You to actually think about? All right, I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna talk. What is that like experience like?
Well, at first, when I was up on the farm, my buddy's dad said I could stay there if I went to AA, and because I had to get cards signed to get my license back. I already paid my reinstatement fee and stuff, and so I would go there. This guy goes, "Come on, we'll just go to the first step meeting, blah, blah, blah." And I get the card signed, and I just didn't do much in AA then. It was more of a punishment. I remember I was working in Eden Prairie at AmeriCable, and the word got out or whatever, and the human resources guy calls me in, and I said, "What do you think, you're a doctor?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm Dr. Bill Dees." He was a doctor at College of St.
Bill
Thomas.
W.
And he says, "I want you to try AA for a month." Well, I go to AA with this guy who I used to party with, but he sobered up. And so we went to Central Pacific in Minneapolis, and then afterwards he goes, "Well, I want to go chase some chicks." So
Yeah.
we go over to Kicks over there, down the street. It was at the some hotel right here off of Shady Oak Road. I can't remember. What's it called? Kicks? I don't know. Marriott Hotel. And so he's drinking a Coke. I said, "You mind if I have a screwdriver?" He goes, "I don't care what you do." And Mr. Curious and I, that's my buddy. We got in so much trouble back in the day. You're talking. I worked overnights. We go to Classic Motor Company, have screwdrivers, go to work effed up, sweat it out. 7 o'clock, go to Thomas Beach down at Lake Calhoun. Have the girls come at 10 in the morning to turn us so we wouldn't burn. And then back to happy hours. And back to work.
But what that first feeling though in your
I'm sorry.
AA,
the first AA,
your thought
petrified.
process. Yeah. Okay.
Petrified. I mean, I thought this was supposed to be the punishment. You know.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a burden. It was supposed to be my punishment for being such a bad little boy.
Yeah.
You know. And it's nothing like that.
I feel like a lot of people, at least for me, the first time going to AA, I wasn't ready. I was like doing it to appease someone else. It was
I'll tell you what, I went to treatment to make someone happy,
Yeah.
my dad happy.
Yep.
And the guy called me out at the end of my stay. He goes, Joe, I know you and your family. This isn't a race. You need to do this for you. And I heard that, which was cool. You know, and so, I mean, it was great. My dad was one of my biggest advocates.
Were you considered, if you were on the outside looking in, would someone look at you and be like, what a spoiled brat? Or what was the dynamic?
No, they would say, he's talking about stuff he doesn't know about.
Oh, okay.
He's obnoxious.
Okay.
He's talking about things he hasn't experienced.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is it because, like you were saying in the beginning, you wanting people to like you and trying to impress people?
I was an alcoholic to fit in. I didn't want to stick out.
Yeah.
You know, I had no intention of sticking.
Yeah.
I had no intention of sobering up. I was going to make someone happy, get the loan, get the vehicle again, and start rolling again.
Yeah. It's funny, the people I meet or met when I was, in recovery and the sober house and everybody along the way, it's similar. I mean, not exactly similar, but it feels like, the guys that go to war with each other, like they go to war.
They're like brothers.
Fellow, yeah, it's like you've gone through shit together and
Sure.
seen some shit,
Yeah.
and it's like a brother in arms where you feel like you can really relate, and they're like a friend for life. Well,
And, the sober house thing, you guys asked me about it. I'm glad I was brought up when I was.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things are changing, you guys.
Yeah?
I mean, like, the fellowship doesn't pay for the rent anymore. They call it a stipend. But, like, these entities like New Way or Elite, they will cover a certain amount of our program fees. Like, New Way, they're an outpatient treatment. A lot of it's court ordered. It's kind of janky, but
Yeah.
they cover up to $700 of the $750 that we charge now for one bed, for a single bed. So somebody's got to come up with $50 a month.
God, that sounds nice.
Right. Or some places cover $550, so they got to come up with $200. But I think you were one of the fortunate ones where you had to get responsible quick. There's none of this.
I remember,
I call it ball coddling. I call it ball coddling. It's just, I remember if you didn't have a job within 2 weeks, you were in the back seat of the manager's car and they brought you to what are those places called? Workplaces. Where you work.
Oh, temp agency?
Temp agency, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you sat down there all day until you got a gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, though, like the... Yeah, it sucked. I digging through the couches for quarters to do laundry.
Yeah.
Like, it was fucking brutal. It's like the brokest of broke. Like
Right.
You could even. It was like you have a place to stay, so you're technically not homeless. But like, if you didn't have that, you're in the street. You're
right.
Yeah.
Well, I still didn't have a license when I got first year and a half. I was riding my bike or taking the bus.
Yeah.
And I got a gig down at the St. Paul Hotel serving. I was a room service waiter. I'd never served a thing in my life. Never have.
Yeah.
And the guy who was training me and goes, "You're perfect." I said, "Why?" And he goes, "Because we can train you in the way we want you to."
Can mold you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people from other hotels.
Yes.
Well, I used to do this at the Hill, and I'd be going because they put me in training of all the waiters.
Yeah.
after a
That's
while.
so real because, not to interrupt, but when I was working at the nursing home,
Yeah,
we would have
okay.
other activity people that would come in and start. Well, we did it this way. The best people to get when we would hire people was people that did fast food. They would have to work their fucking asses off and be treated like shit. They could tolerate working at a nursing home.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Crazy comparison.
It's seriously though.
Fast food
we
workers
always
to nursing home
swear
workers.
to God, we would laugh about it because like the people we didn't like to hire from other nursing homes or like people that I worked in activities, so I know it like the back of my hand. It's like that place.
You don't know this place.
Like this,
Right.
you come in with an ego thinking like we did it like this way.
Right.
Yeah.
I had one of those guys, 36-year-old guy, Egyptian. He comes in and he wouldn't set the carts up the way we asked him. We made pictures like Karen and I, we holding hands
Step
doing a romantic
one.
thing, a romantic dinner, with the table and the flowers and the steaks and everything, and the guy just wouldn't do it. So I read him a riot act, and he's in the corner crying. He's crying because I'm
Repercussions for him.
Goes to the manager, says, Joe's telling me I gotta do it. He goes, well, Joe's right.
Yeah.
And the guy just never
Yeah.
liked me that much, But,
Did you ever? Were you ever in a sober house? And did you have like a manager?
my God, yes. So I was at the retreat, screwing around. Me and a guy made a little golf course out in the yard. We're hitting the building with balls. For the first 3 weeks, I'm doing everything but what I'm supposed to be doing. This is the first time in treatment. I don't know what's going on. And all of a sudden, this little Billy Gillette, his name's Billy Gillette. He's dead now, so his last name's not really going to be a big deal. But he was my little buddy out at the retreat. And he's just little, short, rich little fuck, that he was a retread, he'd been there many times.
Yeah.
And he's in the chair doing his 4-step like everybody else. And I'm sitting there and I said, hey, Bill, what are you up to? And he says, I'm working on my 4-step, Joe. And he looks at me and says, how's yours coming along? Oh, I got mad. And because it hurt, because it was the truth. So I went and asked this lady, Jeannie, who had been out there a bunch. I couldn't stand her.
Yeah.
I said, you ever done this before? She said, yeah. I said, would you help me with the client? She goes, absolutely. The moral of that story is, I got to be teachable today, and I don't know who my teacher's going to be.
Yeah.
It's probably the person I can't stand.
Yes.
But anyways, I got out of treatment without doing a 4-step, but I got to the sober house, I finished it. And the first 6 months I was sponsor jumping. I was, making a nuisance of myself, yelling from the rooftops, telling everybody what to do and how to do it. And something happened. I got somebody a job down at the St. Paul Hotel. And something came out, and I said something about something. He got really upset. And they said, did you say it? And I said, no, I didn't say anything like that. That was me.
But you did say it.
Oh, I did.
Okay.
So I didn't have the ability to be honest at that time. And they were going to lynch me first before they were going to kick me out of the house. And I didn't have anywhere to go. I was petrified. And so as they're voting, each guy goes, he's out, he's out, he's out, he's out. And there's 14 of us, 13 guys are voting. And the last guy, he says, before I vote, I just want to read something to you guys. And he took the 12 by 12 out. And that's the 12 steps and 12 traditions explained about what's going on in it. Anyways, and he reads the thing about principles before personalities. Anyone around the whole room and said, you're going to the casino and you're lying about it, you're dating a chick. And he went around to everybody. And the story is that everybody makes mistakes.
Right.
How are you going to respond and how are you going to handle it differently than you used to? So that was a huge lesson for me. And other than threatening somebody or drinking or using dope in the house, I'm always going to give somebody a second chance.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I feel like being in the sober house taught me that a lot. We'd have those, you've gone through it so many times, kicking people out. But like I remember we would all be sitting there. It's like fucking so and so is drunk.
Yeah.
And it was like the first time was like devastating. So
Yes.
it's like that's our buddy. And now
You
he's
would
gonna,
never think that your buddy
Right.
is relapsing.
Yeah.
And then you don't want to look at it.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to acknowledge it.
I don't even want to go out to the living room and
No.
like even be in the same room because it's so uncomfortable.
Right.
Yeah. Marge, you remember Large Marge?
She was so hot. She was so hot. These guys would bring these young chicks, and I'm telling you, Tricky Nikki and Large Marge, and there were a bunch of other ones. God, I was obnoxious.
You were obnoxious.
Just a pervy old guy. Oh, you guys are watching this. Wow.
No, but it was you're talking about Billy, the rich little kid who
Bill Gillette. Anyways.
Yeah. But no, I was gonna say though, like Marge was dating a guy, George Lucas's son, who we hung out with. Mm-hmm. And
George Lucas, like,
Yeah.
like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would hang out with his son, and we were all broke as fuck.
Yeah.
Like not a penny. Like Dave had a car, a piece of shit Ford Escape, and to us I was like, holy shit. But like Jet was his name. He was driving around in a BMW coupe.
Yeah.
And to us it was like, holy fuck, that spoiled fuck. Like
Yeah.
nice guy, by the way, but
Yeah.
you know. But it's like, man, he's lucky. And then looking back, I was like, was he lucky? Because that would be tough to be in that position, and it's embarrassing. You know,
Sure.
you have this image to uphold, and, you know, I don't know.
did you have a lot of celebrities come through the halfway houses?
Not the sober houses.
Yeah.
No.
Treatment centers, yeah.
No, treatment centers, a famous one up in Hazelden.
Chris
Yeah,
Farley was there, right?
A lot of people.
Well, yeah. I
Lindsay
had a
Lohan,
guy
I
in my
think.
house that was in treatment with Chris Farley. And then Chris invited him back down to Chicago. Bowls of the white shit and all kinds of stuff. And he would talk about that. But Farley was dead. This guy was still alive.
Yeah.
You know? It was funny. You're talking about celebs. There was this girl, can't remember her name, down at the fellowship, and she's really tight with her other friend, and her aunt was Ava Mendez,
Whoa.
and the rumor was
I love
that
these.
Ava brought an ounce of blow for her in treatment, and the two girls did it for like a month, and nobody knew.
Yeah.
Nobody had a clue. They were playing the game. They were never tested.
I love
Damn.
that's one thing that it was the most exciting part besides like people relapsing, not exciting, but like the biggest, drama is the rumors you would hear circulating around St. Paul of so and so slept with this person, but this person's did. It was like high school drama.
Oh, yeah.
And
In the crack addicts or
yeah,
what? Like,
yeah, but like people were sober, so it was you still have the degeneracy, but just sober or they're clean. But yeah, what's that old saying? Like you can't throw a rock in St. Paul without hitting a sober person
Oh, yeah.
or a person in
Well,
recovery.
the saying is now is you can't get away without Joe Emmer knowing about it. Get away with anything.
That yeah,
I tell them I have my spies all around
Yeah,
town.
yeah.
And they look, do you really?
man, I
They
miss.
go, how do you know, Joe? How do you know about this?
I remember too,
It's almost like I am a priest.
yeah, having to clean me and Dave's rooms though were right next to each other.
Yeah.
It was just the fucking best. And like my room,
you
you'd always
still talk to Dave?
on occasion, yeah, I'll shoot him a text or he'll text me, but like you'd always get on me about cleaning my room, and I'd put
Right,
my
like
I'd put
almost
my
every
shit
day.
behind the bed.
Oh, yeah.
Like just a stack of clothes, just yeah. I mean, there's worse things that could happen, but I was definitely not neither of us were cleanly. But anyways, we gotta end this soon. But
Oh, wow. How time flies.
Hour
almost
and
an
15
hour and a
minutes.
half.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Already?
Time
That's
flies when
crazy.
you're having a good time.
last question though,
Sure.
how do you want to be remembered when you're gone?
I knew you were going to do this. He served.
Easy, perfect.
Yeah, that's perfect. for
Yeah.
you.
Because I don't want to help.
I could have guessed
I don't
that.
want to help anybody
Yeah.
because I found out that if I'm helping you, I'm actually getting in the way of your journey. Because I'm pointing out your weaknesses and I'm pointing out my strengths. And it's not a relationship of equality. And what AA has taught me, to walk shoulder to shoulder with people, no better, no worse. And I mean, I still go through a day without judging or condemning somebody. Good luck. Come back and tell me about it tomorrow. I still haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
But I'm trying. Like this morning, I had probably one of the best meditations I've had in months. I go every Thursday morning, and it's a group of people, and it's at 7 in the morning. And I'm finally realizing after 23 years, combined, that meditation actually helps.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, but I don't practice it enough. What's wrong with me? I benefit from it, but it's that,
I have an app called the Calm app.
that Calm app?
It's the best.
You like it?
I do.
You love it?
It's like $5 a month.
Yeah.
It does like the guided meditation. It has like a playlist on there you can listen to come down. It's cool, but you don't need it. There's a bunch of free stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks
Spotify.
for having me out here.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Joe.
this was awesome.
I
And
appreciate
asking
it.
these crazy questions and let me rant and rave,
No, I mean, I knew
About
we would get into the
whatever.
weeds. Yeah.
And I do follow you a little bit, and I'm so happy that you got a little boy in your life and you're married, and it just seems to be
He's the
a
best.
great change in your life for you.
crazy.
Yeah?
It's crazy.
Isn't it amazing
It's
how...
the best. When people, before I have to go off, because every episode I'm like, I love being a dad. But really, though,
Felix is the best kid
the
ever.
best.
He is.
He is.
Before I had a kid, and people would be like, being a parent is just the best, and it's so blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude. I have a cat. I know my cat's awesome, too.
But we're so selfish
Yeah.
until it happens, and then you hadn't experienced it, but
Yeah.
now you experience it.
I'm like, holy
Your
fuck.
whole position changes, doesn't it?
Nothing even comes close to the amount of joy that kid brings me.
So stay open-minded, no matter
Yeah.
what.
Yeah. Try to. Joe, I love you. Thank you
you
so
too,
much for
man.
coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course. Like, comment, subscribe. Click the notification bell. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.